Hi, this is Lucy, your clarity coach, and this is Tuesday Talks at 3. Welcome to the Intentional Parenting series where we explore what truly matters in the parenting journey, especially when you have adult children. And we have 5 episodes. And in the 5 episodes, we continue to figure out what it is that is important. And I hope that now I am audible, I can be heard. There was a bit of a technical issue there, some dependence on technology, and it was letting me down. So confirm with a thumbs up that you can hear me. In the first episode, we looked at decisions, and we came out with 3 takeaways. Be clear on your core values. Check in and align with those core values into your actions, and then staying focused. You see the benefit of staying focused. Thank you so much, Will. Thank you. Lovely to see you here, Ndolo Paul. Today we are talking about priorities and what matters or truly matters when it comes to adulting, especially adult children. So we're just covering up and doing a synopsis of what we have covered so far. The first one was on decisions. And we looked at 3 takeaways. We've just done the first 2. The third takeaway, and if you missed this episode, just check it out on our YouTube channel, LMC Consultancy. Lovely to see you here, Dan O'Dare. It's been a minute. Welcome back. So the third takeaway is staying focused on your core values. Now, staying focused suggests that there can be a time when you are disoriented, you're distracted, and this happens because life happens. Whether you're a child, whether you're a teenager, whether you're an adult, life happens. The good thing about not only identifying, not only aligning, but also focusing on what it is you need to get done, in this case, core values to help you in decision making, is that you are able to respond to when somebody walks up to you and wants to give you another plan other than the one that you had or you wanted to set into motion. So you're able to say, well, unfortunately, I cannot show up for you because I'm either going to read my book, going to finish my project, I'm either going to go and do an MC gig, like I was doing an MC gig the other day. You're able to speak and respond according to what your game plan is. That means your daily actions. Most of the time, we find it so hard to say no simply and purely because we are not focused on our core values and in this way showing up for yourself. So if you were meant to be on the football field, I'm talking to you, Will, if you were meant to be on the football field and somebody comes up with another plan, you're able to say, well, I will be on the football field for the next 2 hours. Can we meet after that? You're able to say no in a very graceful way. And the other person respects that when they see you after your football match or your football rehearsal, they're going to have your full attention. Otherwise, if you go off with them now, they're going to be seeing that you're kind of distracted and you'd rather be somewhere else and you were too shy or not assertive enough to say where you needed to be and what you needed to do. Now, this is what is called showing up for your core values. That was on decision making based on core values. And if you missed that episode, just check it out on our YouTube channel, which is LMC Consultancy, and drop me a message. But remember to like, to subscribe. We need to get these numbers up. They're not moving as fast as we expected them to move over this year. In fact, it's like they've come to a standstill. So I guess next year, as LMC Consultancy, we have to think of a different way to bring the YouTube channel to you. But once you're there, we have YouTube Shorts also. So in those YouTube Shorts, please comment. Tell us how we can improve our channel. So after decision making, we moved on to traditions. Here we took the opportunity to celebrate the month of October, where the World Mental Health Day is recognized. And here we looked at the end game, which is a theme this year of workplace mental health. And that just means that how do we show up in a positive way? The question that we were seeking to answer there was, where are we coming from before we get to work? It's at home. So what can we do differently at home to ensure that our mental wellness is nurtured? That when we show up at work, we can be that team player that is needed to advance whatever objectives we have in the place of work. It was amazing, a special edition, and we had our guest who is the chairperson of the Mental Wellness Association of Kenya, Madame Alice Njambi, and she gave us a lot of gems. Again, you want to be able to go onto my LMC Consultancy YouTube to catch that one, or right here on Instagram. I still have it here as a live. We then moved on to navigation. I can see Dan or Dario giving me a thumbs up. Lovely, lovely, lovely that you are here. We're coming to the question right now, what we're asking today, but let's just continue with our feedback and our bringing up to date where we are was on navigations. Now, just like navigations suggest, that means how are you moving from one place to the other, and how are you taking into consideration what you're coming across? So whether you are turning corners, you're driving down into a valley, you're crossing a bridge, whatever it is, you are navigating. So it was about navigating your goals. So aligning your goals as parents and taking small intentional steps is how you navigate. It's not about the mad dash. It's not about finishing as a winner. It's the journey. It's that navigating of the journey that allows you to grow and know what truly matters in this parenting journey. And then exercising flexibility and being ready to adapt. Because the children are growing. And when they are toddlers or when they are little ones, they believe everything that you say. They cannot imagine that somebody else is wiser than you. And this is the process, the natural process of life. Now, once you let them go and they go into the school system, they begin to question the things that they believe. And they come back home and ask you from a point of love, honesty. Literally, they want to know why things are done differently, or why are those people doing X, Y, Z, and at home we do A, B, C. So as a parent, this is basically for you a moment, a teachable moment as to what truly matters in your home. Now, fast forward and they become teenagers, it's a whole kettle of fish. Because at this point, usually the adolescence of this child is making them rebel against anything that they knew as true, not because they are missing of mannerisms that are required in that family. They want to explore, but they are fearful to explore because they know what they have been told all along. So how do you manage this situation? It's a different season. How then do you show up? And this is where we are navigating and flexibility comes in. This is when we start to seek to understand, where are you coming from? That's what we talked about in navigation. Today, it's priorities. And when we talk priorities, what kind of priorities do we have as parents? What priorities do the children have? How do we bring this together? And the question, as I promised Dan, the question today is, when did you last assess your family priorities? Or are we just falling into each and every season without an assessment? We are told that today is the thing that we know exists for real because we're existing in it. Yesterday is gone, but it leaves us with our lessons. We are not guaranteed tomorrow. We don't know about tomorrow. So we want to be in the present right now with the priorities that we have today. So maybe yesterday the priorities were in this way and today the priorities are in this way. It doesn't matter, and we're going to break down a bit more of that so that we can take away some gems that we can plug and play immediately. So the question is, when did you last assess your family priorities, or do you think it's even important to do that? We finish off this series, the Intentional Parenting series, with expectations. Expectations are a very fine line when it comes to human beings. That very thing that makes you so excited, your expectations were met, is a very thing where somebody else is coming and saying, my expectations were not met. So one man's poison is another man's food, or one man's food is another man's poison. This is all about expectations. And when we come to that session, we're going to have an appreciation of how everybody comes to the table with a different objective, a different desire, a different expectation. So seasons do come and go, and with them, priorities will always shift and evolve. Today's question is, when did you last assess your family priorities? And we are going to consider where to start when it comes to adjusting our family priorities so that we can stay focused on what truly matters in raising our adult children. So we're going to start off with the first one, which is identifying. In any situation in life, we need to identify the season that we are in. Even when you are in school and you're studying, you need to identify the season that you are in of education. When you're at your place of work, you need to identify the season that you're in. What happened yesterday is great for lessons. It only improves how you show up today. We are not guaranteed tomorrow, but that does not mean we don't plan for it. We are hopeful that we will have a tomorrow. So identifying your parenting priorities is a place to start. And you may ask me, how can parents identify their top priorities, especially when I'm saying that seasons come and go? Well, we want to be able to align them to our core values. And when we align them to the core values, then we are true to the seasons. Because you will realize, as I explained in the beginning, when there's a toddler, then a child, then a teenager, you also have adult children. So as your children continue to grow, it's all age appropriate. There's some information that you can share with a teenager that you cannot or you should not, absolutely not share with a toddler because of their understanding. You don't need to go into total disclosure. You're communicating. There's a core value. So maybe your core value is communication. But how you show up in this communication is going to vary according to the season of this child. So you're not lying to them. You're communicating according to their age so they can understand at that point, because you want them to have an equal action after that communication is complete. So reflect on the aspects of your child's upbringing. Reflecting on this is so paramount so that you can ensure that your daily decisions reinforce this, just like I was saying. So if it is communication and we've got these little kids, what are we telling them? In the same room, the older children are being told something else. Maybe there's a family meeting and you're going to use certain words and terms so that we are all on the same page. And by the time we get to the older children, there's more information around the same topic. So core values are key. And without these core values, decision-making, priority cannot be done. Because you're the one constant thing in their life. You need to come off from a place of guidance, like we talked about navigation. So are you still struggling to identify what your core values are? Or have you never even known that there's a term, core values, other than just values? Well, join me on the 24th, which is day after tomorrow, the 24th at 7:30 p.m. I'm giving a free webinar on my Facebook page, which is Clarity Coach Lucy. So you can just drop me right here and I will send you the details, or you can do a better one and just follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Clarity Coach Lucy and you will see. Fantastic. Lovely to see you there, Warega. It's been a minute, but good to see you here. So you can then join me on Facebook on the 24th, and I will just give you a peek of what core values are. This is a build-up to a training that I have next week, but the one I'm introducing you to now is a free webinar. This free webinar, again, is on the 24th of October on Facebook. So we've talked about identifying those priorities. What are they? Depending on the different age or the different season that your child is. Then we move on to juggle. You know, when we are juggling, when you're juggling suggests that there's so many priorities. And yes, the adult has got so many balls up in the air. Now it is said that some of these balls are glass balls. And when a glass ball falls, that's it. We cannot put it back together the way that we had it before. And then there's the rubber ball. So there are those that go up in there, and if they come down, we are able to continue working with them. So there's glass balls and there's rubber balls in our life. Figure out What is important for you that you're throwing up in the air? Which one can bounce back and which one will just fall down and crash? It's different for all of us here. We all have different priorities, so we need to juggle them. And the question then may be, how can parents manage competing priorities? Because they're all competing once they're up in the air, while staying focused on their core values. So the core values, again, are the things that you keep on falling back on. It's as though they are the go-to thing. They're the rebooting. They are the, whenever the system is rebooted, it comes back to settings. That's what your core values are. You will always be found showing up in this way. So rank your priorities, remembering that you are willing to make trade-offs. So if in this season we are talking about, shall we talk about us now growing up our children into the social environment, allowing our children to appreciate networking opportunities. Therefore, you are exposing them to areas where they can talk, where they can play around with the knowledge they have in their heads by applying it. So it's just not about a biology session in school, but showing up and speaking to the science of biology to a group of people, therefore showing how much they understand. So the question that we are seeking to answer today is, when did you last assess your family priorities? Now, once you have an answer to this question, it allows you to rank those priorities, like I'm saying, and giving the trade-offs, and just making sure the core values are at the core. By definition, core values are the essential and unwavering principles. Core values are the essential and unwavering principles that guide a person. So if you were to show up as somebody who is a communicator, because that is your core value, then you want to be able to show that in your behavior. How then do you communicate? Is it in a telling and you think you have communicated? Or is it in the communication as you're speaking in dialogue and then seeking feedback? This way you're sure that you have been understood. And if there are any questions, you've managed them. So my question to you today is, when did you last assess your family priorities? I would love to hear from you, because then that way I know that I have communicated. Share with me what your thoughts are, especially when it comes to core values and intentional parenting, when it comes to all down to priorities. Join me on the 24th of October on Facebook, and I will be sharing with you a little bit more about core values. You want to be there? Let's make a date. So we've looked at identifying, we've looked at juggling, and now it's evolving. Why do I say evolving? Because we adjust our priorities over time. Priorities over time are adjusted because seasons come and go. And as your children grow and your family's needs change, then we need to evolve with this change. If you're still doing the same thing you did when you had a toddler to the same adult right now, then you're not communicating. You're not allowing yourself to appreciate the person that they have become. You're not allowing yourself to plug and play into their new world so that you can learn something new. So how do you assess and adjust your priorities according to your family's needs changing? Well, you just want to reflect on the current situation. Let us not concentrate on the yesterday other than as a place of lessons. Let us be open to shifting our priorities. Let us meet the evolving needs of our families. So regularly assessing and adjusting your priorities ensures that they stay aligned with your family's changing needs. I love this, Dan. You say, this is a great question. And to be honest, I don't remember. It's very true. And many of us do not remember when we last assessed it. Yet at our places of work, or where we do projects, or where we have our social enterprises, we are always carrying out audits. We're always trying to understand, so this is where we came from, this is where we are, and this is where we want to go. What do we need to do different? What do we need to hold on to? What do we need to stop doing? We do this all the time. These audits are done all the time, everywhere, except at home. And in the same way that it benefits us when we do it in all these outside, external environments, it benefits us highly when it comes to our families. Because then we create this strength, this bond, this cohesion. So I'm going to be talking about core values on the 24th of October, and I do hope that you will join me. I don't see anybody having dropped me there. So I want to believe that you're all my friend on Clarity Coach Lucy on Facebook, and you will see the notification going on. Just click it there on Facebook and join me 7:30 this Thursday night, and I'll be talking more about core values. So we talked about these three things. In conclusion, seasons come and go. And with them, remember, your priorities will always shift and evolve. You will surprise yourself. You will definitely surprise yourself. Dan, you say, I really don't remember, but I have it clear in my mind what these are and think about it often. So communicate then. Even if you do not have a home that has adult children, wherever it is that you have youth who are in your influence circle, where you are influencing them as a role model, take an audit. Ask them for feedback. What do they think about how things are being done in your presence in that group? Have that conversation done, and you will surprise yourself that there are certain things that you can stretch and have more capacity. And this is growth for you. So in this session, we were focusing on aligning your parenting priorities with your core values. So identifying them, balancing them, that's where we talked about juggling, and adjusting. We were taking in the fact of evolving because our children are not the same age, and neither are we. Have you ever wondered why grandparents are so different with their grandchildren than they are or than they were with their children? This is because things have changed, things have evolved. So a grandparent right now is taking the lessons of yesterday and applying them to today with their grandchildren, and they're surprising themselves. Take a moment and think about it. Look at any grandparent that you know and look at their behavior, especially if you are their child or you know their children, or maybe you used to visit that home. Totally different people. We evolve. Let us move with that evolving nature of human beings and surprise yourself. So, in the same way that you upskill when it comes to your career choices, in the same way that you change your wardrobe to stay in tune with the fashion, I invite you to create a parenting approach that remains focused and purposeful so that you can be able to assess your family priorities and keep on evolving with you. And I guarantee you that you will have your eye on what matters most for your family. You will thank me. Your children will thank you, because then they will start to feel that you're seeking to understand them. You are there to listen. I have learned so much with my adult children. It's not the same people I used to speak to when they were toddlers or when they were teenagers. I have surprised myself with how much I am seeking to understand and how, as a result, I have learned so much. So our takeaways today are tips on staying abreast with family priorities. I talked about identifying, and I'm giving you another opportunity to have deeper conversations on the 24th of October with me on Facebook. I hope that you will join me. It's a free webinar. And then juggling is balancing and making intentional trade-offs. It's no longer my way or the highway. It's intentional trade-offs. And then last but not least is evolving and meeting demands of the changing needs of your family. And those are the three takeaways that I always promise you to have. Thank you so much for joining me in this episode. It will be available on my YouTube channel, LMC Consultancy, by this evening. Hop on there, hit the subscription and notification buttons. YouTube shorts are there. Please sample them and speak to me. It's a bit lonely out there in that world. I'd love to hear back from you. Our next episode is on setting expectations. And this is setting realistic expectations, not textbook expectations, realistic expectations that are aligned with your family and the core values that you subscribe to. Orega, you say intentional trade-offs, nice one. Oh yes, you've got to be intentional about your trade-offs. You've got to know the teachable moment and what is going to benefit your family. So in the meantime, our social media platforms will keep you inspired and educated. Remember that my season 3 podcast, episode 1 is out. You can find me on Spotify. If that is something alien to you, always find me here on Instagram and drop me a message and I will give you the link to Spotify. So as we speak about that and we speak about meeting you this Thursday on the 24th of October, I just want to leave you with these words. Thank you so much, Will. You say what a beautiful session. I appreciate you for keeping me company today. You never let me down. So join me this Thursday, and until then, let us help build one another. It is so key. But as I finish off, I say, until then, be kind to yourselves. Bye. Thank you so much, Daniel. You say thanks, Lucy. We'll definitely do. This is so important for us. Be kind to yourselves, guys. Bye-bye now.